What does it mean to be innocent? I'm Christy Birchfield. We're looking today at Jonah. We've been working our way through this book, and it's such an incredible story. If you've missed any of the sessions, there's a link in the description below for the full playlist, so I'd encourage you to go back and check that out. Today we're looking at chapter 1, and we're in verses 13 through 16. We've had kind of the entire lead up to this argument and Jonah, between Jonah and the fishermen. And the fishermen are like, what's going on? Why are we in this incredible storm? And Jonah's like, it's all my fault. I disobeyed God. You should just throw me in the sea. Well, today in these verses, we read that the fishermen are like, we aren't going to throw you in the sea. We're going to do everything we can to not throw you in the sea. Why would we throw you in the sea? We're not going to kill people like that. And then they make this interesting statement. Jonah chapter 1 verse 14 says, the fishermen have finally gotten to the end of the rope. They have no other choice. And they finally say, then they cried out to the Lord, please, Lord, do not let us die for taking this man's life. Do not hold us accountable for killing an innocent man. For you, Lord, have done as you pleased. Wait a minute, rewind. Like I read that and I'm like, hold on. Yesterday in the verses that we read, then we saw Jonah telling the fishermen that I'm completely guilty. It's all my fault. Sorry, my bad. And that they should just kill him by tossing him into the sea. And these fishermen, these ungodly, don't know anything about God, aren't following God, fishermen, are doing everything to save Jonah's life. And then they pray this prayer saying, hey, don't hold us accountable for killing this innocent man. Why are they hesitant? Jonah's already told them that he's guilty. Did they really believe that he was innocent? I mean, probably not. I mean, most people don't do everything great, but still. They figured, the only thing Jonah has said he's done that's bad is he disobeyed God. These were men who probably, whatever gods they were following or believing in, they'd probably done several of things that were disobedient. Their whole idea of being obedient to God wasn't really a factor in their life. They'd not spend their whole life trying to be obedient to God. Here's a man who said his only crime is that he was disobedient to God. In their minds, that would so not have constituted the death penalty for him. But yet, in everything they tried, they still couldn't calm the storm themselves. Finally, they end up seeing, okay, I guess we have no other choice, and they throw him into the sea. The idea that being disobedient to God was worthy of death, I think would have been really hard for them to grasp and understand, because they'd all been disobedient to God. And so by that logic, they should all be guilty of death too. When they saw God's response to when they finally did throw him in the sea, the storm stopped immediately. Seeing that response, they knew and understand that their disobedience to God truly did make them guilty. They weren't innocent. It was a big deal that they weren't following and obeying God. Seeing that God's power and awesomeness combined with their disobedience would have been what caused these men to repent. As we read through verse 16, the seriousness of obeying God was evident when Jonah's penalty for disobeying God was to just throw me overboard and kill me. So as we look at this and kind of the contrast between Jonah and these fishermen, do we recognize the seriousness and guilt of not obeying God? Do we consider ourselves innocent? Oh, it's not that bad. It's not that big of a deal. Only to realize that we are actually guilty and in need of God. That's our lesson for today. Learn from these men. Learn from Jonah. Jonah still hasn't repented. He just, like we saw yesterday, much more ready for death than he is to actually repent and do what God says. But these ungodly fishermen saw the power of God and recognized the guilt in their own lives, and they turned to God as a result of this. Where are you? We've got another verse in this chapter, and then we've got three more chapters in this book. It's an incredible book, so make sure you subscribe so you don't miss anything, and I will see you tomorrow. Thanks.